How's it going, Blades? Working to bring you specifications you can relate to so you can have educated decision on your purchases. Is David Blade Banter. This is brought to you by K Tactical. I didn't heard about them before, but they're actually a pretty decent brand for really budget side, but it's something that it kind of looks pretty cool, and then some of the other offerings looks pretty decent as well. So this is going to be what it kind of looks like in pocket, so you can kind of see, I guess, for yourself if you want to pick it up, as far as what that's going to look like. Going to go through some of the things here for specs, and then at the end is going to be kind of my opinion on things as far as that goes, so you can kind of gauge your own opinion on things, and then I'll let you know as far as what my thoughts are once we get to the end of it. But they have 3 different models, so this is some of their information here. They have their logo. They have the card, these cool little patches. So this is actually going to be a giveaway as well, so stay tuned to it, leave a comment. You could actually win basically all this stuff. You win the knife, you win the patches, you win the little card. I'll throw the card in. It's actually a pretty thick card too, so as far as business cards go, quality stuff there. So this is going to be now what they have. They have 3 different models. They have the Katana, they have a belt knife, and they have a carbon fiber flipper, and they're very inexpensive. So this one is going to be one that starts out at about $25, and then they have the belt knife is I think about $16. The carbon fiber flipper is on sale now for like $15. So very inexpensive. So if you want to pick something up just to have around, kind of experience what it is, then you can do that as well. So this is going to be a weight-wise about 3.4 ounces. So for the channel, as far as that goes, what does that weigh? So that's going to be, if I can get them all, it's going to be about 17 quarters. So that's what it's going to be. So if you have like a bug out, it's going to be about 1.9 ounces. You can add quarters and pennies to that, and then they'll actually be able to get it in hand as far as what does this feel like to me. You figure also, if you're like, well, that's too much weight, it's just horrible. Well, an iPhone 12, I think we're on 13 now. iPhone 12 weighs about 5.73 ounces, so this is 3.4, so not very heavy at all for this knife. And it is going to be a tanto as well for the blade style. So that's going to be what we have for that. But 3.4 ounces, 24, or basically 25 bucks. MSRP is about $27.95, so decent for that. This one is going to be so pull gauge to actually get what does this actually what's the weight of this for the pull. It's about 2 pounds 13 ounces. So actually to deploy this, pulling down on this, it takes about 2 pounds 13 ounces before it actually breaks. Not really best for the flipping action for it. It's going to have a little bit of wrist to get that to deploy out there, but if you're going to be doing it left-handed, that's where it kind of helps out, because you do not have a thumb stud on this side. So it's kind of going to be like the CEO in that sense. So left-handed, you're not going to be able to deploy this with your thumb, so you are going to have to use this flipper tab to deploy. A little bit of wrist for it, and then you actually get it out there pretty well. So this is a very polished blade. So that's something that actually is pretty impressive right out of the box, as far as having that type of blade for a very, very budget knife like this. So this is going to be a tip up carry. So you have a right and left hand carry. So you have it right now set for the right. Flip it over to the other side, you have it left hand carry. So that is something that's pretty decent for it. Actually, this one also too is a flat up front and a hollow on the back side. It's not really sharpened the same, so it's like 24 degrees on one side, 16 degrees on the other side, so it's not going to be a real symmetrical sharpening edge for that, but you can touch that up probably pretty easily, because this is going to be a blade steel of 3CR13, which is about 420J2 from what I can find on it. So maybe possibly about 10th percentile on edge retention. So cut a few boxes, strap it up, do something like that. Will work for most people's uses. So if you didn't know what the blade steel was, I mean, it'll probably hold you up pretty decently for that. So not horrible at all, but it's going to be a blade length 3.57 inches. So that's actually going to be much bigger than I thought this was, because some of the other ones that are in this kind of katana style are very, very tiny. So this actually helps out quite a bit, where it's actually a good size. Primary grind on it. So this is a hollow, but then for the basically the end of the grind, it is going to have an upsweep. So that's going to be about 7 degrees. So it should work pretty well for some of the cardboard, but it does have kind of that big upswept for it. Behind the thickness on this one's going to be about 6 sheets of paper, 25 thousandths. So for folks that look at that, that's not going to be the highest or the lowest amount, so it's not going to be the best for that. But one thing that is really impressive, some of the more expensive knives, some of the other ones that are out there, have a pretty bad degree of ramp. What is the degree of ramp? So basically that's from disengagement to when that detent ball is actually on the blade entirely. This is 20 degrees, so that's really excellent. So 20 degrees is really good, 30 degrees is okay, 40 degrees, anything over that is kind of, it's a lot. So I mean, if it's going to be really taking like a lot of this stuff to get that detent ball onto that knife, doesn't work very well, especially if your thumb's going to be there. But this one does have that flipper tab, so it can be a block for that. But it's that is impressive. Some of the other stuff, not so much. But 2.78 millimeters for the blade stock thickness on this one. But the thing about these, it looks really good. It does have this overlay, the carbon fiber overlay over G10, which is good. It looks good on both sides, but that's where we get to kind of my opinion on it. So for $25, it is a very handsome looking knife. This is going to be a steel, the bolsters on these sides, so not going to be any type of copper or anything like that. So it's basically colored or painted for that, but it does have the overlay. So it looks kind of like the faux type of paracord type of wrap for it. Very traditional as far as what would be like a tanto or a sword, but it's really, really bad with the pocket clip. So I've had this for probably a few months now, and I've had the hardest time in reviewing this because it's just, I cannot get it into the pocket and keep it there, because in putting it into the pocket clip was not bent up like this before. So you can kind of see that gap right on this side. I did that because I just, in putting it into the pocket and taking it out of the pocket, these ridges, as far as the carbon fiber overlay, it catches fairly well, where it just, I could not get past that. I would put it in my pocket, take it to work for the day, and I was like, can't do it, put it back, and put it right back on the table. And that's where it sat for a really long time, which is sad about it. So thank you very much for John from Tactical for sending it along, but I just had a hard time reviewing it. So after all that, it's still a decent knife. This one is running on basically the plastic washers on both sides, but it doesn't have any play on it. So on the side-to-side play, it's solid for it. It has a pretty good action for that thumb stud. Thumb stud is not screwed in. It's basically more of a tension, so it's actually more of a pinned thumb stud for that. But the things that I would probably do in carrying this would be take off the pocket clip altogether, and then cut off the flipper tab so it doesn't deploy in my pocket accidentally. So those would be the things that I would change, and then I wouldn't mind carrying it, because a lot of these things, like in these little grooves, even just rubbing my hand over it, I was getting kind of like dead skin kind of into those grooves. It looks good, it just doesn't perform very well. So if they just made this completely carbon fiber or completely G10, that would have probably solved a lot of that for me. But because of the aesthetics of it, it looks good, but performance-wise, with the catching in and out of the pocket, I just couldn't do it. So that's where I would sit for it in this setup. I probably wouldn't recommend it by bar or void. I would probably avoid it in that sense. But now that I have it, and now that I guess somebody else can have it, I can bend that pocket clip back too. So just let me know. But it's not something that I would get. It's something that if I had it, I would modify it in that sense, remove pocket clip, cut off that flipper tab so it didn't accidentally deploy in my pocket, or put it in a slip, and then that's where it would kind of sit, and that's how that would work for me. But that is my opinion on that. But I was pretty impressed with this one here, so I did actually buy the other two knives, so the belt knife and also the carbon fiber flipper. I bought those with my own money, so I'll see how those look. A belt knife looks kind of like a minimalist in sense, but it does look like it has a better pocket clip than the minimalist does. And then the carbon fiber flipper looks decent on it. It does have the overlay too, but it's not basically across where the pocket clip would run. So it kind of has a strip of carbon fiber, which looks pretty handsome, and I'll see how that works. But as far as size-wise, let's compare this to some other knives on the table. So you have this one here. You're going to have the Fuse, which is a new one from Gerber. I really like that. After, again, I had to modify a few things, take a little bit ridging off, reduce some of the liner tension. Rat 2. For that, you're going to have the bug out. Right there. And then you're going to have Orion Large, still on sale. Sorry, that's a bit dirty. Still use that one. I always carry it in my left pocket. I rotate my right pocket. And then just because I have it on the table, this is the Valhalla. So that's what that looks like. It is humongous. But that's kind of what makes it cool. So that's going to be the one from Messer, Midgard's Messer. I did buy that as well, since I didn't buy anything at Blade Show. But for K Tactical, all you have to do is leave a comment. You can give a thumbs down, you can give a thumbs up, whatever way you want to do it. Leave a comment, and then I will choose a winner for this. Let me know if you want to change that clip. I will bend it back. I'll bend it back before you ask about it. And then I'll send it out to somebody. You get that. You'll get the patches. You'll get the business card. And all those things will come to you for your time of watching this video up to this point, and maybe just at the beginning, and then leaving a comment. That's all you gotta do. I'll do a drawing, you get the knife, and it's pretty decent. So that's what it looks like for the blade. Very shiny, smudgy. So that's one thing that's bad about anything that's polished. But you have that carbon fiber on this side. Pocket clips, lanyard hole. Pocket clip does have the logo on it for K Tactical. Would rather have not there as well, so take that off. But this is the knife, and this is the setup. 25 bucks, decent look. So check it out. They do a lot of airsoft as well. I've played that before. What is airsoft? Those little BBs or plastic BBs that you shoot each other. Hurts a little bit, leaves some welts, but it's a fun game. More realistic as far as that goes. But take K Tactical, check them out. 3 models, and this is the one that's the Katana. They do have one that actually has Damascus as well. That one I think is about $60 for that variant. But let me know what you think about it for this brand. If you've heard about the brand or any other questions on it, K Tactical Katana. That's about all I have to say about that one today.